Hi guys, I picked a question here from 3.2. This is another one where there's tons of different types of questions. There's graphing questions, there's evaluating questions, rewriting them from one form to another form. So you want to let me know if you're stuck on anything in particular, because right now I'm just kind of picking questions to do for you guys. But I haven't had any suggestions for 3.2 yet, so anything you guys need, just let me know. But for finding the domain of a log function, what you have to keep in mind is that the stuff inside the logarithm, the stuff that is plugged in the logarithm, has to be greater than 0. If you try to do log of 0 in your calculator, it will give you an error. Or even if you do log of a negative number, it will give you an error. Okay, it's outside the domain. So that doesn't mean x always has to be greater than 0, because like in this case, if I put a 0 here, that's 0 plus 2, right? So then it would be positive. So we have to think about the whole expression being greater than 0. So the way I approach this is I take whatever is inside the function. Oops, that's supposed to be minus 4. And I say it has to be greater than 0. Now this one I picked because it's kind of a weird case, because it's this fraction. So a trick that I use is I set each one equal to 0 first. So the top equal to 0 and the bottom equal to 0. And I'm trying to find those values. So negative 2 and positive 4. Okay, so these are values that we cannot use. We know these won't work. Negative 2 won't work because if I plug in negative 2, I get 0 on top and I cannot have 0 in my function. Positive 4 won't work because if I plug in positive 4, I get 6 on top, but I get 0 on the bottom, and that's undefined. I can't use that either. So I know these two values have to be excluded. So then what I do is I kind of draw myself a little number line. Okay, and here's negative 2, and here's positive 4. And it kind of divides us into 3 sections here. And what I want you to do is pick a couple values, like one value from each section, and we're going to kind of test it out and see what happens. This is us kind of experimenting here. So if I pick a number in this section, let's say we could pick negative 3, we could pick negative 4, negative 5, any value that's less than negative 2. Then we'll pick a value in the middle. Okay, so it could be negative 1, 0, 1, 2, or 3. Either way. So we'll pick 0 because it's easy. And then we got to pick a value greater than 4. So I'll go with 5. There's no reason to make these values hard. And what I want you to do is plug in each of these values and figure out if we get an answer that's greater than 0, right? So if I plug in negative 3 plus 2, over negative 3 minus 4. That's negative 1 over negative 7. So that is 1/7. That is greater than 0. So this section is a good section. This section works, right? We can use any numbers in this section based on the fact that negative 3 worked. Okay, so let's try the middle section. So if I do 0 plus 2 over 0 minus 4, I end up with 2 over negative 4, which is negative 1/2. That is not greater than 0. That's not greater than 0. So this section does not work. By testing this value in the section, I can now say that nothing in this section will work. Okay, so now I'm going to test the last section. So I've got 5 plus 2 over 5 minus 4, which is 7 over 1. which is 7. And that is greater than 0. So this section does work. Okay? So we see here algebraically that it's these two sections that will be good for our domain. The section that's less than -2 and the section that's greater than 4. If you don't like looking at it this way with the algebra, you can graph this guy. If you graph this guy here, okay. Oh, goodness. Why did it do that? All right, hold on. We're struggling. Okay, we're okay. So I already graphed it here. Trying to save time, but it's not working all that well. And you can see how we have that 0 at -2, and we have an asymptote at 4. Remember how we said it would be undefined at 4? That's what's causing the asymptote. So what I'm looking for when I'm looking at this is the sections that are greater than 0, meaning the sections that are positive, okay? So up here, this is above the x-axis right here. It's only a little bit above, but it is above. So this section is positive until I get to -2 when I hit 0 and I go negative for a while. So that's why the middle section isn't working, because it's a negative section. But then after 4, I'm positive again, okay? So you're looking for sections that are greater than 0 because logarithms can only have positive numbers in their parentheses in the function. So writing the domain would look like this. I can use anything from -infinity up to -2. So it's -infinity up to -2. I'm not going to include -2 because remember that was 0. Okay, if I plug in -2, I got 0, and I can't have 0 in my logarithm. So not including, not including -2. Then there's another section, so I'm going to use union to say and anything from 4 to infinity. 4 to infinity. Now me personally, I like doing it this way better. I think I can do this a little bit faster and in my head than I can fussing with the graph and figuring out what these numbers are that are kind of separating my sections. So I prefer this way, or at least figuring out the boundaries using this part. But either way, you just got to figure out which values of x will make it so that it's a number greater than 0 in the logarithm. That will make this whole fraction, once you're done with it, greater than 0. Okay? Hopefully that wasn't too confusing. If you have any questions, let me know. If there's a different question in this section that you want help with, send me an email, post in the discussion forum, right? Whatever works for you. Just make sure you give me time to reply back. Don't wait till the last minute to ask me. All right. I'll see you guys later.